designed for transfers, freshmen, and sophomores. So for those of you guys who are going to be looking into applying to those four-year programs, okay? So what we're going to do is we'll go through the business, and Naomi's going to go and kind of go through that. So if you guys have any questions, definitely ask. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Is this on?
Yeah, I turned it on.
Okay.
Make sure, maybe
Right.
put some popcorn.
When applying to the School of Business, they have a mission statement, and it provides an academically challenged learning environment where students develop critical thinking skills. Basically, in this department, you're learning leadership skills, communication skills, which is very important in the workforce after you get your four-year degree. There are different kinds of environments you learn to work into, such as tribal management and just management in general. The bachelor's program, it provides students with a broad base of knowledge in various functional areas of business. Like I said, you learn the emphasis of management and tribal management. The classes you take in there, you're just basically learning different kinds of skills mathematically, learning how to run a business and things like that. The admission requirement, you have to do a completion of 45 college credit hours. The minimum cumulative GPA is a 2.3. The completion of English 1 and 2. College algebra or higher math is a grade of a C or better. So in your English classes and your math classes, you have to have a C or better to apply to this four-year program. And then official acceptance in the School of Business. And these are the deadlines. So if you were looking forward to applying to the business program this semester, the date is February 15th for the fall. And for the spring is September 15th. So if you're thinking about applying next semester, that would be the due date for that. And I also have the degree checklist for the business program if you guys are interested. This is like some of the classes you'll take and then some of the classes you have to complete in order to apply to the business program. So if you guys have any questions.
All right,
Let's get some.
okay.
Is this all the same requirements for, say, you want to apply to business KU?
No, this is just for high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you want to do in that situation is if you're looking into transferring to KU, you want to talk to your advisor, but you also want to look at their degree checklist. So that's one of the things too, is look at their degree checklist. So if you are planning on transferring, if there's courses that you guys can take here instead of taking those at KU, we definitely recommend you guys to do that. So you want to talk with not only your retention specialist, but also your advisor. And then making sure that you are in line with those courses for transferring over.
And if you guys have any more questions or if you need more information, the business program is located in Toledo, so you could go there and look at their offices. And the degree checklist will be over here on the table if you guys want one.
Any questions? Again, this is just an overview of kind of what you need to do, and the reason why we're doing that is because next week on Friday, or no, sorry, the 15th. On the 15th, all of the programs will be, except for all the programs will be on the 15th. Okay, so if you guys need help on that, definitely make sure you get with us. There is a packet for the business, so you want to make sure that you guys get that packet and start on that right away. I believe there's a couple of things, you already talked about the requirements that are on there.
They are. Go back to that right there. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so if this doesn't need a recommendation letter? No?
No.
Okay. And then when we get to that recommendation letter, we want to make sure that you let whoever you're going to ask for that recommendation letter at least a week before, if not 2 weeks. So that way you can make sure that we have everything that we need to put in that letter. We want to make sure that you guys double check that packet. So it does say it's due at 4 o'clock. You want to make sure you get it at noon. Okay, so you give yourself a little bit of lead time. We have seen students who waited till the last minute to try to get that in and they were scrambling. Okay, so you want to work on that right away, because when you turn in that packet, they're going to look at that packet as if it's complete. So if you're missing stuff in there, what does that say about you as far as following directions and making sure you get that packet done? Anybody? What does that say?
It's not good.
Thank you. You're not good, you're not serious. Okay?
So, one thing she brought up, Yosh brought up is, to make sure you're not scrambling around. And I know I've heard Ron say this before, maybe in passing or something, but you need to keep in mind that your emergency is not Naomi's emergency, it's not Yosh's emergency, it's not anybody's but your own. So if you put yourself in a tight situation about not getting stuff done to meet deadlines, if those people that you're going to for stuff, they may have already a set schedule that they need to example, we're working on our annual performance report that is due to the Department of Ed. So if you come to me today and say, hey, Michelle, can you write me a recommendation letter? Yeah, sure I can. When do you need it? By 4. Sorry, I can't get that for you. I have this big report that needs to be due. I wish I could help you out, but I need to know a little bit in advance. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about asking other people. Be courteous to them, and don't expect anybody to bend over backwards for you. I mean, just be courteous and manage your time effectively, plan effectively.
You guys have any other questions about the business administration? Again, very general, but just making sure that we get the information to you guys. There are a lot of opportunities with the business program. I know they have some really great internships. Walmart, is it Walmart that comes during does the mock interviews? But if you are looking for an internship, let us know and we can try to help you with that as well. Okay? So we're going to start moving on to American Indian Studies. Naomi's also in this too, but because I was here first, no, I'm just kidding. I get to do American Indian Studies. I do have my degree in American Indian Studies, and I have a master's in conflict management. So I will say high good stuff about Haskell. These are some of the things that you can get as far as the opportunities. Now, a lot of people say, what can you do with an AIS degree? And there's a lot that you can do. Law, journalism, business, social work, linguistics, science, education, tribal and federal Indian employment. I also just found out, just kind of doing some research, that you could go into documentary film, which I didn't know that. So a lot of these are going to be segues. So once you get your bachelor's degree, we do definitely encourage students to try to go for that graduate program, because these are going to be, with this degree program, it's helping you kind of get into the field that you want to. So my first idea with the AIS degree was to go into law. And I was going to go to KU into their federal Indian law program, but I didn't want to be in the courtroom and I didn't want to just be like writing, so that was a choice for me, and that's why I went into conflict management. So there was a little bit of different things in that, but the same field. So again, these are some of the areas that you can go into with the AIS. Does anybody have any questions about AIS? Nobody's wanting AIS? Aw, all sad. Okay, so again, these are the requirements if somebody was here that was looking into it. If you look, this is actually going to be a little bit higher than the business. It's going to be a 2.5 as opposed to a 2.3. So making sure that your cumulative is high enough to get into these programs. So I believe you have 6 semesters to get into a 4-year program. After that 6th semester, if you're not applying to a 4-year program, they will actually ask you to leave campus, okay? Unless you get a a petition for an extra semester. If you graduate with your associates, you will not be able to come back until you are into a 4-year program. Yes?
Sorry, is that 6 semesters at any university or college, or just here?
I would talk with your advisor, but I believe it's 6 semesters total. So you want to look into that. If you are kind of on the fence on that, you want to talk with your advisor right away. Yes?
So what if you had a 2.3?
So it's a minimum here.
I'm saying is there a petition?
Oh, for a petition with them?
I'm saying if you have a 2.3, say you failed one class, and it brought you to 2.3, and you wanted to get into the 4-year program.
Then you'd have to talk with
But
AI.
they made that exception, do you know that?
I don't know if they made that, they probably might have, but you would have to talk with them because these are the specific guidelines that they're asking for students to come in with.
As long as it's not a requirement to get into the program, there is a thing called, what is it, the forgiveness?
Yeah, grade forgiveness.
Yeah,
and
where you
would
can
to
have
talk-
a grade drop completely, but you have to apply for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you, like you said, you had a bad semester, you got 1F or whatever. If that's not a requirement for this program, then you can go and have that erased off your transcript.
Say I failed algebra one semester, I can be like, hey, I wasn't all the way there, can I just get that off my?
I think you have to have a requirement graduating with college algebra.
Yeah, I'm saying if you took it again though.
Oh, okay.
Oh, if you
I think
took it
they'll
again,
count-
they'll
count
take the better
second-
grade.
Yeah, they'll take the second grade that's
They'll
better.
count the better grade.
And then again, you want to make sure that you have a B or higher in those classes if you have already taken. AIS will require you to write a statement, and I believe they also ask for recommendation letters, but this is important. Again, your packet, your application, what you turn in is going to be basically you in that paper. So how you present yourself is very important. Okay, so don't wait till the last minute. We've seen some really horrible essays because they wait till the last minute. So don't do that. If you need help with that essay and you need somebody to proofread it, definitely come in and let us know.
And you can upload it to tutor.com and they'll help you go through it too. Here's a question back here.
Yes.
I was gonna ask, like, what semester like what year is?
So you get 6 semesters, right? So the first, as long as it's within the 6th semester. So say you're a sophomore and you're in your 4th semester and you got all the requirements to graduate and you graduate with that 4th semester, then you don't get those extra 2, you already have to apply. So once you graduate, you have had to already been accepted into the 4-year program to come back. But if you graduate with that associate's, then you have to be into any 4-year program. Otherwise, they will not let you back to the institution. Did I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions? No? Yes? Okay. Again, just talking a little bit more about what AIS is. It's a big, broad spectrum. It is in humanities. If you're working or thinking about working with Native American communities, this is a great degree program. It goes into social work, it goes into history, there's a lot of practical self-determination. So a lot of these things, again, if you're working with your community, is a good degree.
So this is only a 4-year degree, it's not like a 2-year?
Is it 4-year? Yes.
Can you do a 2-year?
I believe you can do a
You do your minor,
2-year.
can you do your minor in American Indian?
I think we can look at the degree checklist and we can look at that and see what you can get. But I believe you can get like social work. So, yes.
How well does AIS go into the psychology? Because even though like I know Pastor doesn't offer a bachelor's in psychology,
Uh-huh.
I think that's right. How well does AIS go?
So AIS is going to be kind of with the social work, so it would go into the sciences. So you can actually take some of those courses now. So with my degree, I got an emphasis in social work. So it goes into that field. Yep. Any other questions? No? Okay. So again, same dates, 15th, September 15th, 4 p.m. Make sure you get it in early. And I have a video that I'd like to show. If it'll come up.
How do we get this thing in our dorm room?
What's that, this? Write a really good grant. All right, so this is an AIS, and these are from students who are or graduated from the program.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Parrish. I'm the high school junior class representative. And I chose the AIS program because when I came to high school, I really didn't know about my Native traditions. And being in this program allowed me to kind of get a more understanding about the policies and history too, and just made me expand and also made me think critically.
Hi, I'm Antonio Smith. I'm in the AIS program. I chose AIS to gain in-depth knowledge of indigenous nations across the United States.
Eric Anderson, Professor of History and American Indian Studies. This is a discipline that connects our students with issues that resonate across Indian country, and as an academic field, American Indian Studies focuses on rebuilding our sovereignty, revitalization of native heritage, language, and other issues.
I didn't really grow up on tribal reservation. I didn't really have that traditional connection. So when I came to high school and learned about the AIS department, I really got fully integrated into tribal history and tribal federal government relations and how that history and trauma is still present within current communities. So definitely unraveling the past and going through all that trauma definitely helps see me how it's shaping our community nowadays and how it definitely shaped me as an indigenous person. So that's why I chose to go into the IAS program. And definitely, I really like how they implement aspects of activism and traditional and spirituality. It's really holistic.
From the Real Sportsy tribe, and I chose AIS because it's something that I always carried on.
Hey, can you tell me why students should pick AIS?
It's a really good program, you get supported.
My name is Calvin Smith, and I am a junior in the Indigenous and American Indian Studies program, and I am also currently a Student Senate President of 2017 and 2018. And why AIS is I want to learn more about how I can make a greater impact on my communities back in the reservation.
AIS.
So again, if you guys have any questions about AIS, I am definitely here to answer those questions for you. Again, that's all on AIS. Any other questions? Yes.
So, like, if you're starting a business program, are a lot of those programs, like, do they intertwine with the AIS?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can take business courses and then vice versa. There's elective courses that are going to be 300-400 level. So you can take some business courses as well. Or, again,
You want
switch.
to switch your...
Yeah,
Switch up.
I think that's it. So if not, we will move on to environmental science. Or
What's next on the,
that's it. That's for, I'm done for mine.
no, on the thing that was up there?
I think that was it. It was just the business and AIS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll go.
So I'll just turn this
All right.
All right.
Great. Are any of you interested in environmental science? All right. I'll give you a quick breakdown about the program. And some of the things we've been talking about in the other groups, if you haven't been online to look at the course catalog, you should do so. The environmental science is on page 57, and it has a description of the program. It has a roadmap of the classes you'll need to take. It has the admission requirements, and I can get you a copy of that here. And it has a degree checklist so that you know going in what's expected of you and the classes you'll need to be in the program. You know, it's pretty, the application process is the same for all these programs. Is, you know, you have an application, you have a letter you send in. This one, it requires 45 hours of university credit before you get in, 2.5 GPA, submit one-page academic goal essay, requirement, describing your academic and career goals, official academic transcripts from all colleges and universities attended, and a signed change of advisor form so that a natural science advisor can be assigned. And again, you have to think about not only your sixth semester, but you have to think about if you're here and you're receiving financial aid, you have only so many semesters too of financial aid. And so you have to think about that, and will you have enough time to finish this degree once you start into it? So, pretty much that's the same thing. But I wanted to share some other things about it because they do tie in with some of the other majors here on campus with AIS and business. Here's a list of top environmental science careers at the bachelor's level. Landscape architects. And you think environmental designing architect, well, what do I want to do with that? Well, think about all these tribal enterprises that are taking place. Casinos, resorts, other types of businesses. They all have to look nice and presentable so that they can attract people to come. That's one career. Another one is that breaks off into many things is environmental engineers. How does nature and man-made structures, how do they coexist? How do they affect each other? You don't want to build on the wetlands and have your building, settle and all that. But at the same time, you don't want your building or facility or whatever it is, you don't want it to destroy your land either, especially if it's sacred lands. And so that can work together with law, that can work together with business, that can work together with AIS degrees as far as, the impact it would have on reservation land or just land maybe that even borders the reservations. Health and safety engineers, again, effect on air and water. How does, like when we look over here, we see all these equipment and stuff. How does that affect the environment? If you have old equipment sitting around and they're rusting and the rust is seeping into the ground and seeping into the water. Let's say your water source is a well. How does that affect it? So a lot of tribal groups have need for these kind of positions. And you think about it and you think, oh, well, I don't know, I'm not really into science and stuff. But once you start getting out into the field and you're working with native groups and native entities, all of these things work together because we need people that can, do all that. But it's not only the people who come up with those issues, it's the people who carry them out. Because the engineers, they're going to be the ones that actually, question what is the environmental impact of having, like at Standing Rock, the whole EPA thing about how is that going to affect the water table. There's a lot of things, a lot of issues that that we have to ask. But then there's also the technical people, the environmental engineering technologies. And those are the people that actually do the footwork, and they go out and take these test samples, and they follow all of these things that are happening year after year, and they're the ones that are on the ground. Now, just kind of backing up, an environmental design and architect, the average salary in 2015 was $63,000. Environmental engineers, the average salary in 2015 was $84,000. This is at the bachelor's level. So this is, just a little ways from where you're at. Working with EPA and environmental health engineering, $84,000. This is again still at the bachelor's level. The geotechnical, that one was $94,000. So, it's a very lucrative thing because they're in such need of people who can do these scientific experiments, to do the research, to do the field work, to see what it takes to do all this. Then the geotechnical and environmental engineering, $129,000 a year. That's at the bachelor's level. And then here's the list of other careers that can be a part of this degree. Agricultural engineering, You know, are your tribal groups, or are you as individual entrepreneurs, as business people, are you interested in farming? Or how does farms and ranches that border tribal land, how do they affect sacred ground? You know, or how do we go about protecting those sacred sites? Anthropologists, past and present human practices, how we leave our mark on this earth. Archaeologists, preserving sacred sites and identifying them. So there's a whole list of things that we can look at from environmental science point of view. It's a lot of math, it's a lot of science, and it's a lot of testing, a lot of research. But if you're interested, that's a very lucrative field. I keep looking at that at the bachelor's level, $94,000. That's a pretty good salary. I'd take that. Anybody have any questions?
Would the degree transition to, or could you go on to learn like public health in graduate school?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because yeah, and that would come under the environmental health issues and all that. It all connects in with environmental studies, you know, how things affect the public. So, okay, I'll turn it over to Michelle.
Okay, I am doing my elementary education. And so, let me find my handy dandy PowerPoint. Me? Yes.
You want popcorn? Come get some popcorn.
Dang it.
I'll get it. I'll put it in this thing
Okay.
for you.
So, Haskell in the Nation School of Education. So the elementary ed program here at Haskell is kind of hard to get into. You have to have completion of your Associate of Science degree with an emphasis in paraprofessional education, a cumulative of 2.8 or higher, and the C or better in all required courses. They do have a detailed degree checklist for students to follow. You are accepted as cohorts, so you would, if you apply this semester and you start in the fall, those same people that are accepted with you, you go through all those classes until you graduate. So you become a family, essentially. You go through every class together for 4 semesters. You have to successfully complete the Praxis core in the area with the scores in areas of math 162, reading 168, writing 165. Scores are the tests. They cost $150, and retake for one content area is $90. The deadline here says the 11th, but it's actually by the 15th. You have to have taken your test. Submission of a written vision statement indicating a commitment to teaching and an educational autobiography. Those 2 documents are completed in EED 241 or role writing. Yes, I was looking at you because I had to do that in class. Role writing, we work on the educational autobiography. Oh, and I said we because I'm an adjunct over there, so I teach I'm teaching children's literature this semester and language arts methods for K through 3, and curriculum and instruction assessment too. So I have 2 junior classes and 1 sophomore class. So when I say we, because I, over there quite a bit, you have to complete 20 classroom hours of observation, get 2 letters of recommendation, one from Haskell faculty and one from the community in which the candidate officially resides, so does not have to be here. You cannot ask anyone from the school bed for a recommendation because they want somebody outside of school bed. Good social standing, which is verified from the Student Rights Office. You'll get a form from Mr. McKinney and then you submit that. Complete a felony disclosure statement and disclose any misdemeanors or felony charges to the Dean of Professional Schools and or SOE Department Chair. This is because you will be working with kids. And so you have to go through a background check before you're into the program because you are going to be working with kids. That's what you're going to be doing. So you have to have a background check. Complete an interview session with the SOE interview committee. So what typically who that is, it would be probably one faculty from the School of Ed, the Dean of Professional Schools. It'll probably be maybe a Haskell staff or faculty, another one. Probably be a school district principal and maybe one or two other school district teachers will sit in that meeting or in that interview. So you can submit your applications to Dean Chuckluck, Ellen Jefferson, or any SOE faculty in Parker Hall. The deadline is February 15th. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you are interested in applying but maybe will not apply till next semester, those test names and scores will change. They're in the process of making changes, not just the School of Ed, but across the nation. So those scores and tests will change. Trying to think of anything else that could be helpful. Any tips? Nope. She's like, It's an intense program. Yeah.
What do you mean they're changing?
The ETS, so the national testing, they're changing, I want to say the name of the test and maybe the test scores. So they don't just decide, there's like a committee of people across the nation that come together and then they meet and kind of decide on these scores. But once we find out what they are, then we let everybody know. So, yeah. And then the juniors, at the end of their junior 2 semester, they are required to complete another assessment. Now, when I was in the School of Ed, we had to do a cumulative assessment that everything we went through for that year for those classes. They still have to do an assessment, but not that way. It's actually with ETS again. So it's done with on a national level. So, any questions? Okay, that's all I have. And if you have any questions, just let us know.
Okay. Don't forget to turn in your sheets, and there's a bucket here for pins.
The camera.
Oh.
What?
Hey, Michelle,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, do you want me to fill out a survey? Or, yeah, the form? Because I was already...
Ask you.